Welcome everyone to this webinar about creating realistic training environments. My name is Sef Hendrickx and I would like to take you on a journey about creating realistic training environments. As you all know, this year there is no Intershoots, and Intershoots is one of the exhibitions where we as FireWare team really are looking forward to. That's the biggest event in the world where we all can come together and share our ideas and knowledge about training, about realistic scenarios. And it's so nice to have all these rescue workers together in one place. But unfortunately, it's not possible this year. COVID-19 makes that this year is a little bit different. But we still want to connect with you, and we still want to share our ideas and hear your ideas. And that's why we came up with a whole range of webinars. And in this webinar, we would like to talk with you about creating realistic training environments. What are the ideas? What is a realistic training environment? What I would like to do with you in the upcoming small hour is guide you through several subjects. I would like to talk with you about theater technology. As you might know, FireWare's origin is based in the theater and in the film industry. We use the special effects that are used in theater and film to create a realistic training environment. And we do that for 17 years, and we think we have some tips and tricks that might be beneficial for you. We're going to talk about what is a realistic training environment. If we talk to rescue workers all around the world and ask them, how do you want to train? They all say, oh, it should be as realistic as possible. But what do you mean with that? What's the difference with reality then? We have some ideas about that as well. And we make the connection to the senses. As humans, we have several senses, and how can we use them in creating a scenario? We go into the deep with that. And if you want to make a training environment, a realistic training environment, you need training equipment. So we guide you to the whole FireWare range of products and see what kind of equipment can you use to create a realistic training environment. And beside that, there is an alternative vision on realism. What about gamification? What if we think that the dilemmas of the incidents that we're seeing are fake, but the dilemmas that we're facing are real? What can we do with that philosophy? All these elements we would try to address during this webinar. Like most companies, or actually every company, also FireWare has a mission. Why are we here, and why is it that we do what we are doing? We enable emergency response teams all over the world to train as realistic as possible. Stimulating as many senses as possible from our theater origins differentiates us from others. This is how we help emergency response team members to become and stay professionally skilled. How are we doing that? When you visit our website, you will see several options. Buy materials, rent training equipment, simulations and scenery, fixed training centers, mobile training centers. Actually, all the points that you see on this screen. And what I would like to do with you is to explore a little bit how that we use our theater background in helping rescue workers getting and staying competent. We do that all over the world. And also, this is not just words. We work in areas where there's completely nothing, and in areas in the world where there's everything. You can see this on this slide. We work together with the Firefighter Without Borders Foundation. So if we have used training equipment in the Netherlands that's not completely suitable for the Dutch market anymore, it comes back to FireWare, we refurbish it, and we will ship it to areas in the world where there is completely nothing. That's one of the charities that we help as FireWare. And all over the world also means that we can not do that all alone. We have a complete team of highly respected partners all over the world that help us distributing our products, distributing our services, as you can see on this slide. That brings us back to a very interesting other part, What is theater technology? And that's something I would like you to guide with during this webinar. And if you look at this picture here in front, this is our office building. And this is for a staging, this is for a scenario for several fire trucks, ambulances. And we staged this. This is not real, this is our normal office, and it took us around 3 hours to transform this building, our normal office building, from the daily operation to this image. And it was very clear for every rescue worker involved what was going on. To be quite honest, would it be of any use to go inside, or as a troop commander, should I make any other decisions? That's what stage technology can do. Please try to imagine if you look at special effects in the movies and you compare them to your daily exercises, perhaps you will notice the differences. We are completely inspired, and our background, our knowledge is in the theater business, is in the movie business. And in the last 17 years, we learned how to transform that knowledge into the rescue workers area. Let me explain to you something about what is staging, because staging is the absolute basic. We're talking, when we do an exercise or preparing an exercise, about staging. But do we all realize what staging actually is? And in my opinion, staging is the process of selecting, designing, adapting, modifying a performance space for a play or film, or in our case, with the rescue workers, an exercise. Let me give you an example. If I am at the Dam Square, which is the central square of Amsterdam, and I want to make a movie from the 1800s or the 1700s, and I will look at that square now, I will see all kinds of fast food chains. I will see modern cars. The whole square will not be suitable for making my movie. I have to adapt it. I have to remove parts from this era and bring back parts from the 1700s and 1800s. So I'm modifying, adapting my performance space for my movie. When I transform that idea back to an exercise, I have a safe environment and want to set up, create an unsafe environment so that I can do my exercise and train people, get people trained. So I have to bring in my special effects. I have to bring in my dilemmas. So that's what the process staging is. Let me give you some really, really good examples how you can do that. It's very good to realize that if you know how to do this, you can transform, and with this technology, is it possible to create a realistic training environment everywhere? Let me give you some examples. This is a simulation of a flood. And how can we simulate a flood? That's not that easy, because we can't just flood a complete village. Insurance companies will not be very happy with that. But if I want to practice with my helicopters, I want to practice with my lifeboats, I want to practice with all the rescue workers involved, how can we simulate something like that? This particular image is from FireWare. FireWare was one of the biggest flood exercises ever held in Europe. And as FireWare, we did the complete staging for that exercise. What we actually did is we took a lake, get some pontons from the army, built rooftops on top of it, and we anchored these rooftops into the lake. Besides that, we modified the land maps. So we removed the lake and make artificial or virtual villages, roads instead. So all the rescue workers had modified road maps. This is how we simulated a big flood like this. I really, really, really love this picture. And this gives the whole origin of what staging is about. If people go away from the water comes up, they have to go, they have to leave everything behind. They take everything what they can with them. So these cars are completely packed with all kinds of equipment. As you can see on this particular image, the left one. How many of you have ever tried, when you do a rescue exercise into a car, completely fill it up and stack it with furniture? Most of the exercises done with cars in the world are done with empty wreck cars without any luggage, which is a shame, because if you do it in a proper way, you will get a complete different way of staging other dilemmas. Perhaps you should try it. This particular set of images is in a hospital evacuation. Once again, all these images are real exercises. It's no after effects. It's not a movie. There are real firefighters doing a real exercise on a real evening. And everyone has the same view. Everyone has the same image. And this is a particular way that we have used the smoke machines in the fire simulation to create this image for all the firefighters and hospital people involved. I will teach you or tell you more a little bit on how you can, or what kind of equipment that you need to create these images. Like this, we also can do forest fires. It's with the heat coming up and more severe weather, forest fires are very hard to train, especially when you do not want to damage the environment. Here you see an image that we can do a non-destructive forest fire simulation. And another one of my favorite images is this one. Every firefighter in the world understands that smoke and heat goes up. So why is it that most firefighters during a training use their smoke machines in a horizontal way? It makes no sense for me. So a decent smoke machine for fire training should at least be possible to make a vertical smoke, as you can see on this image. And you will see another little surprise, that we can create the optical illusion of black smoke. The smoke coming out of the smoke machine is completely white, but we create an optical illusion to generate the black smoke. How does it work? I can quickly explain it to you. If I would have a torch and I would shine directly onto my hand, everyone would say, this hand has the color of flesh. Would I rotate my body and I would bring my light source from the back, it will become a silhouette. And the silhouette, my brains will say, this is black. And if you look once again back to that picture, you will see that the lights are below the smoke, and that's how we create the optical illusion of black smoke. You will also see the neutral layer. There is a very clear view on the floor and a very dense smoke on top. These are the things that we think are important in fire training and the things you can do with our smoke machines. Our building, you can see so much smoke, so much fire. It's for every firefighter involved very clear what to do, what not to do. We all look at the same picture, which is so important for a decent fire drill. Of course, because we work with simulated fire, it's not possible to put liters and liters or gallons and gallons of water on top of it. And these are not the drills to train your nozzle technique or things like that. These are the fire drills for prioritization, how to handle with your victims, how to organize the water supply, how to do the communication, how to organize your command and control. All these items, they are really important in this kind of exercises. And it's not only FireWare we can use this. Also in the CBRNE scenarios, we can work with training equipment and create a realistic training environment. If it's about empty vessels into a pond, or we're working with a truck where a haze or a damp or comes, or a gas comes out of a container. Did you know that you can simulate this with most smoke machines? You only have to remove the smoke liquid and bring in demineralized water instead. And you will get a much more dense and more haze-like, steamy-like leakage or leakage simulation. Just a small tip. Another thing that I really, really love is creating dilemmas. This is one of the pictures we took we did during an exercise in the hospital. The firefighters involved were drilled. When it burns, the most important thing you have to do is get the people out. Even if you have to drag them with your on the hair, it doesn't matter. Just get them out. But what if your victim is connected to a spreader on a fixed operation chamber bed? That's the moment that you have to start thinking again and do the procedures that you always have learned, apply to this specific situation. That's creating dilemmas, and that's the real power of staging. This is a tunnel fire we did in Utrecht, one of the main cities in the Netherlands. There was a brand new tunnel, and they really needed to do an exercise in there, but it should be non-destructive. You can imagine if you bring big fires, lots of smoke into a tunnel and lots of heat, all the actual installations like the cameras are getting demolished, and that's exactly the place where we do not want to be. So really proper staging is about creating a real realistic image, creating real realistic dilemmas, but being non-destructive for the environment. So adapting your performance plays for your play or exercise. If you want to get more information about all kinds of exercises that we can do, or that you can do, please have a look at our website. We categorize them, and let me take you through that website and see what we can do. So if we go to the website, which is www.fireware.nl, you can select your language, of course, in this kind of English. You will find here an area called Simulations and Scenery. If you go to that area on the website, you will find first aid scenarios, large fires, CBRNE, aviation, all kind of big incidents that we have simulated. You can find here to get some inspiration. So if you go to industrial incidents, you will find all kinds of industrial incidents. Let's go back. Large-scale fires. So if you're looking for some inspiration, please feel free to go to our website and see in, once again, simulations and scenery, all kind of different scenarios. We have seen several images. We have seen images from so many exercises and how to create a realistic training environment. The next step is how can you do that yourself? And at least what kind of equipment do you need for that? Probably you all know smoke machines, because that's the most common piece of training equipment there is. But also there we will see there are a lot of differences. I would like to guide you through how to select your pieces of training equipment to create a training environment that fits your training needs. And for that, it's very good to understand that if we look at training equipment, it has to address one of our senses. As humans, we have 5 senses. We can see, we can hear, we can smell, we have taste, there is touch. We can feel heat, we can feel vibrations. There are all kinds of things that we feel, which is very important to understand. And it looks totally obvious, but it isn't. In a realistic training environment, we address every sense in the most realistic way possible. So we make that it sounds as realistic as possible, it smells as realistic as possible, it feels as realistic as possible, and it looks as realistic as possible. And if possible, we can add taste to it as well. But these are very specific scenarios, and perhaps we go up that in a follow-up scenario or a follow-up webinar. Where is the difference with reality? Because what would be more realistic than just use a bunch of matches and just light a house or put a car into fire? That has everything to do with control. If you create a realistic training environment, you want to have control on everything. In this way, you can help the students to get most out of themselves. I want to make decreasing, I want to make increasing, I want to make things worse, I want to make things better, just depending on how they act. It's very good to realize that and ask yourself the question, how can we address these senses in the most realistic way? Let us have a look at some examples. Sound. How can we use sound in our simulations? We have several products for that. So we have a shout box, which is a small box that you can put into a rescue mannequin. And if you say, is there someone? The mannequin reacts with, yes, I'm here. So you can pre-record a message which will automatically plays when someone is shouting. Then we have the Fusion, which is a sophisticated audio player which you can control with your smartphone and has over 36 different sounds you can use in an exercise. Not only fire sounds or collapsing buildings, but also shouting for help in many, many different languages, leakage, barking dogs, diesel engines, all kind of equipment, very easy accessible with a touch on your mobile phone. Other pieces of equipment are these electronic gas cylinders. They really, really look like a normal gas cylinder, but there's a little audio chip inside. So when you open the knob, you will hear the typical hissing sound of a gas cylinder. We have explosion simulators. You can imagine if you want to have a loud, loud bang, it's not only the volume, but it's also the air that moves. In the Netherlands, we have a problem with using pyrotechnics. So we have to work with alternatives. By law, we are not allowed to use pyrotechnics, or at least we need a lot of permits. These explosion simulators work on propane gas and simply work on a remote control. Push the button and you will have your bang, up to 120 decibel. One of my favorites is the Pandora's box. A little bit further, I will show you some incidents you can generate with it. And it has a small audio mixer inside. As you can see on the remote control, which has the same size of a credit card, you can add the sound of fire, and you can mix it with a collapsing building. You can mix it with crying for help. There's a full audio mixer inside, and at the same time, you can control your fire effects and your smoke effects. Bringing to me what you can see. And of course, smoke is something that you can see. Smoke is so important for every firefighter. We read the smoke. The smoke tells us so much. And how is it possible that when there comes smoke everywhere out of a building, the first question you ask yourself, do I go in? And during exercise, when there comes smoke everywhere out of the building, or not coming smoke everywhere out of the building, you ask your students to wait, because otherwise they will find the training mannequin too quickly. Personally, I think that we should try to make smoke simulation as realistic as possible. And that starts with smoke going up and not going into the horizontal ray. We have several smoke machines specially adapted for that. So we have the Cumulus Stratus smoke machines, which are doing bigger volumes with a lot of accessories, both for hazmat simulation or big fire simulation. We have the Cirrus battery-operated smoke machines, and the Nimbo, which is a very nice, small, easy-to-use smoke machine with a heat-up time from just 2 minutes. Try to imagine how long you have waited during your life in the heating up time from a smoke machine. The Cirrus, the battery-operated smoke machine, has a heat-up time from just 2 seconds, and the Nimbo 2 minutes. The Cumulus and Stratus have a heat-up time from 12 minutes, but also are able to give a bigger volume. What is the difference between these smoke generators and the normal smoke generators for the entertainment industry? Look at this image. We're talking about vertical smoke. We're talking about layering. There is so much more you can do with these smoke machines. The accessories that we have with it is, for example, a smoke hose set. You can connect it to the smoke machine, and it's a perforated tube. Most smoke machines, the smoke that comes out is a point. But if you look at forest fires or big fires, and you, for example, to the roof, you will see that the smoke is acting much more like a line. So it's a line source. Let me illustrate it to you with this picture. This is just 2 or 3 smoke machines generating this effect. And we have a smoke hose in the gutter on top of this tower. And in this way, it's not only a point of smoke, but it really is a line of smoke that creates a much more realistic effect. And of course, with that comes the proper smoke fluid. We have very light smoke fluids with no residue at all, up going to really sophisticated smoke fluid for forest fire simulation, which gives a very thick, dense smoke that holds up for more than 2 kilometers in the open air, and 2 grades in between, a universal fluid and a fluid for bigger spaces. There are places where you're not allowed to use any smoke. So we have the Nebula. The Nebula is an augmented reality mask you can put in front of your glasses or for your BA apparatus. We have several modification pieces you can see on the picture below that it also works on your BA. And with the remote control, you can give more or less smoke. Up to 4 masks in a set, and you can make 4 groups, and you have an unlimited amount of masks in a group. Ideal for if you are working in hospitals or places where you cannot work with artificial smoke, or when you are training people. As an instructor, you want to have a clear view on your student, which is much harder when you fill up a smoke completely with smoke. So we have seen smoke, we have seen sound, and then of course we will need fire. So how can we simulate fire? One of our most popular products is the mini silk flame. As said, it's just a very small flame, but it's ideal to generate, for example, pot fires or things like that. If you want to go a little bit bigger, we have the Phoenix. The Phoenix can make flames up to 2.5 meters. That's the stretch length, so the actual view is around 2 meters. That's where we make this kind of images with. Of course, not only one, but we use several for an image like this. And there's also not one smoke machine, there are several. Because when you are in a big fire, you have a lot of smoke, and in a big fire, you have also a lot of fire. So you will need more units. And another one is a fire spot. And the fire spot is just a very simple, easy way to project the light of fire to a smoke curtain. And then with that you can generate images like this. We use them a lot for forest fire simulation, big building fire simulations. Especially when you use them in bigger amounts, you can create amazing effects with them. As told in the part from the audio, Pandora's box has 2 lights. You can see them into the case. You can modify them in how they blink and how they are flashing. And this is a very easy tool because the Pandora's box is battery operated. The smoke machine inside is battery operated. You can all control them with a remote control. So the setup time is less than 30 seconds to create images like this. For an evacuation drill, for a small fire, with one fire truck, an ideal way of simulating fires. And of course, we have now seen smoke, we have talked about audio, we have talked about fire simulation, so where we cannot put any water on top, and of course we want to feel the heat. And for that, we have also some series of training equipment. You can combine them with the smoke machines, you can combine them with the fire spots or with other pieces. And for example, that's the Vesta. Let me give you a small impression what we can do with the Vesta. And this is a movie that we made on Hanover Airport. And the Vesta is a really, really, really small fire simulator. It fits in a box from 60 up to 40 centimeters. And we just wanted to know what happened if we put it in front of a crash tender. There is completely no need in doing this, but it's so much fun, so that's why we did it, and that's why we made this movie. And it holds for the whole time. As you can see on this movie, we do 300 liters a minute at 40 bars. It's battery operated. All the people that design training equipment at FireWare also work in the rental department. So they understand what equipment how equipment is used, how it will be abused, because there is a saying, don't be gentle, it's a rental. And that's how we work at FireWare. So when we develop our training equipment, we work with that ourselves. And that's what you can see also here. You see the adaptation pieces, so we have pieces that we can put on top of it and use an auxiliary output to make extra fires. Is there any need in it? No, but it's always a nice image for that. Besides fires, there are also other things that we can do. We'll have a quick view in how the crash tender tried to extinguish it, and we'll see that with the water, because the Vesta is very light, it moves through the water pressure, but the flame is not going out. Besides that, let me check. So we have seen heat, we have seen audio, we have seen smoke, we have seen fire simulation. We didn't talk about smell. Especially for evacuation drills, mostly fires, when there is a fire in a building, people smell the fire first before they see it. And that's why a product like burning smell spray is ideal for an evacuation drill. It works just like an air freshener. Spray it, and then you have the smell of a fire into the room. And depending on how much that you use, it disappears also very quickly, so it's not that people are in the burning smell all day. We also have a chemical smell spray. You can use that for gas leaks or other chemical spills. And we have a concentrate that you can add to your smoke fluid so that you can use your smoke machine to bring a burning smell into the room. There is a whole range of CBRNE training equipment, like the signals that you can put on a container, on a drum, or color liquids that you can use to give water the color of a specific chemical to make your drills much more realistic. And of course there is a whole area of simulating, but what you have to do, and that has to do with extinguishing. We have filling stations so that you can fill up your own training fire extinguishers. So it's very, very cheap and saves you a lot of logistics costs in using your training extinguishers. And a new product is the LED extinguisher. I get one for you. This is this one. I really, really love it. When you're doing a fire drill into a hospital, you're not allowed to use a real extinguishing agent. So as an instructor, I can activate the extinguisher. You can see it with the LEDs. It has the real weight of a real extinguisher. And when I pull the plug, it has the real sound. And it even has the sound when it's empty. So the duration of the sound is exact as a real extinguisher would be. Put it away again. And with the remote controls, it's very easy to interact with your student. When he does it right, the fire goes out. When he does it wrong, it will not go out. And when he walks away in the wrong way, you can reignite just by using your remote controls. Then there is a whole range of demonstration products for positive pressure ventilation. And besides that, we have interactive training experiences that you can do a full exercise with iPad control, immersive rooms. So the sky is really, really, really the limit. This was just a very quick overview of the products that we have as FireWare and that we manufacture as FireWare. Every product, all our products, we organize and categorize on our website. And let me show you quickly how to get there and how it's organized. So we're back on the FireWare website. And there you can find an area called Buy Materials. Because we just didn't mention all the training equipment there is. There's so much more. And it might be very good to have a look in all the kind of training equipment that there is. Especially I like the interactive training experiences, like a FireWare Incident Server and Client, where you can control a complete exercise from a tablet and control all your smoke machines, control all your flame simulators, and get real video footage back to your tablet during the exercise. So, once again, if you go to the website and you have Buy Materials, you find a catalog from all the different training equipment there is available at FireWare or at partners from FireWare. So we have seen a wide range of different realistic training environments. We have seen what kind of products there are available to achieve that. And that's all based on the 5 senses model. We as human beings, we can see, feel, hear, have touch, and have taste. But there is an alternative way of looking at a realistic training environment. And that's also something I want to share with you, because that's where you can make the difference in these modern times to get to the next level. And a way of looking at it is that you realize that the incident is fake, but the dilemmas your students are facing, they are real. And if you want to work with these things, you have to realize that there is a difference between to condition and to train. And there was a guy called Mr. Pavlov who had a great theory about it. And it's called the Pavlov effect. He took a dog and he took some food. And when he gave the food to the dog reacts on it by dripping. And when he has a bell and he belled, the dog did completely nothing. But what he did was, when he gave the food to the dog and at the same moment he rang the bell, he did that several times. After a while, he just had to ring the bell and the dog start dripping. These are the things that we often see in the training. People see an action and react in a specific way. Thinking stops and its action is reaction. And what we really want to do is getting back to the dilemmas and get people to think for themselves again. Actually, training is about changing behavior. And if we agree on that, we are all mammals, and we know that mammals react more positive on positive reward than on negative reward. So, if training is fun, it's easier to change behavior. And changing behavior, that's what it's all about. And there is a very good example. I would like to share a small movie with you where that's illustrated perfectly. How can we organize that people take the stairs instead of the escalator? Let's have a quick look at this movie. I really love this this movie, and it shows us that fun really helps to create a better training environment and create better skilled people. But how can we bring in fun into our trainings? Because traditionally, especially with the rescue workers, that's not something common. Is it new that we can achieve bigger things with adding fun in our training environments? No, it's not. In 1938, Johann Huizinga wrote the Homo Ludens, the playing human, which he did a lot of investigations in what's the goal of playing for human beings. And he said an activity is playful if it's fully absorbing, so you are completely involved in it. You can see it with children when they are gaming. It's just the gaming that they are doing. It's completely something you want to do. It's intrinsically motivated. And it includes elements of uncertainty or surprise. If you know exactly what is going to happen, it's no fun at all. And it involves a sense of illusion or exaggeration. Things are made bigger. Things are making a little bit different. There is a twist. And play comes from that we humans want to imitate, to relieve stress and prepare ourselves for more serious actions. Think like kittens that they are playing. They are preparing for a hunt. And an exercise is nothing more, nothing less than a play that we're doing to prepare ourselves for a more serious situation. If we keep this in mind, we can create a lot of other realistic training environments. We did at FireWare a lot of research in using this technology, this theory, integrate that into training center, into our own training programs for instructors. We train instructors how to use special effects during exercises. And one of the products that came out of it are escape rooms. These are rooms where the students are locked up, have to solve all kinds of puzzles and learn from the skills that they need as a rescue worker. And you see all kinds of escape rooms. These are didactical escape rooms, so these are not the ones for bachelor parties. They really have a serious goal and are really designed to train people in a funny way, and people love it. We also use it in our training center developments. We, as FireWare has also a design team. We design training centers all around the world, and we help fire brigades, military, police to look in a new way in how to make a training center, how to develop a training center, how to make it future-proof. And we used the 5 senses model, so all the senses that we have as human bodies, as human beings, together with gamification to get the best of both worlds and get complete immersive training environments. We also use technology for interactive roadshows, for public awareness. In the Netherlands, we designed several, and in Belgium, roadshows that go to markets, to schools, to hospitals, to teach people about fire safety. We collect data, we measure data, and share the data, and get the results from the data. Also, these designs, we have. That's something that FireWare can do for you. When I make a brief review in what we have learned in the last half hour, and if we want to look in how we merge gamification with the power of the senses, the mantra is a little bit, the incident is fake, the dilemmas are real, and in a complete immersive environment, we address every sense, and that's how we create a realistic training environment. And that's how we can help to get these rescue workers ready for the job, to get and stay competent. If you want to have some more information about what you can do with gamification, what you can do with interactive roadshows, how it works to design a complete new training center, have a look at our website. I guide you to that. So here we are back on the website again. And we have seen all kind of things that we can do with merging the 5 senses and gamification. How to build training centers, how to make mobile roadshows, do public awareness shows. On our website, you can find inspiration for fixed training centers, mobile training centers, concept development. One of the core values of FireWare is co-creation. We always work together if we create a new training center. So we really work together in a process like that. We train also fire instructors all over the world in how to use special effects. You can find that in knowledge and training. And what also might be very interesting for you is with COVID-19, all the training stopped in the Netherlands, and we had to start with something else. So we started to do webinars, just like this one. And in the months that we did the webinars, we made a lot of failures, and we did some things good. And we made a diary about that. So if you go to knowledge and training and you look at learning skills remotely, you will find our diary with all our findings in how to organize webinars for firefighters. And you will find what we have done right, but you will find much more information about what we did wrong, and perhaps it can be beneficial for you. Let me go back to home. So the mobile training centers, the didactical escape rooms and games, we did plenty of them. So you will find a lot of inspiration and alternative ideas in how you can think about getting competent, staying competent, and creating realistic training environments. If I close this, there we are. I can imagine that there are several questions you have after seeing this webinar. And of course, I'm more than happy to help and answer your questions. As you can see here on the screen, my name is Sef Hendrickx. And please feel free to send me an email or send one of my team members an email at info@fireware.nl, or get connected with social media on LinkedIn, on Facebook. The socials are down here under the screen. Feel free to get connected. Feel free to send us your questions. We were more than happy to answer them. And I really, really would like to thank you for the attention on this webinar. Thanks a lot. Bye.